What's going on, everyone? I am Ryan. Welcome to episode 20 of Get Bucked. I already said my name. I'm Ryan. These are my co-hosts, Jackson, and special guest and friend, Noah Maher, obviously. Other good buddy of mine will be on PHP, Pacific Horse Players here in, like 4.5 hours. That's a
Okay,
ways
close.
away, but we got the late pick 5 with the carryover at Turfway Park. It's been like 10 days since we've been able to bet at that racetrack, so long overdue and excited to get into this sequence. Noah, how'd you view the sequence in terms of difficulty?
Well, you'll see a little bit later. I definitely pressed up in some spots. For the way that I saw it, I'll probably play somewhere like win bets and doubles, but obviously they got the big carryover, so have to dabble in a little bit. I'll be interested to see. I'll be paying attention to the first 4 races for sure, just because they've been off for so long. It's been cold here in Kentucky, and to see how the track plays.
That's right. You are our local weatherman out in
Yeah.
Kentucky, so you got to let us know the conditions as we get up to race day. Jackson, how about you? How'd you view the sequence?
Yeah, we'll just add to Noah's point. I think the track is usually pretty fair overall, but when there is bias, it usually is after they have some weird, funky weather, which they have had in the last week. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I thought it was a decent sequence. I think you can get pretty skinny a couple spots, and other spots you got to get a little spready. So a little bit of everything.
Absolutely, yeah. Couple favorites in there. I think we're going to try and beat them, particularly Jackson in the last race with an AE of sorts that I also like, but we'll get into that as we get rolling. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now, but hop in YouTube, join the live chat. It's a good time in here, but without further ado, let's get on into it here. We got race number 6 of the first leg of the late pick 5, carryover of $186,000 going in. That'll definitely grow, probably in the neighborhood of maybe 500,000 or so. But to kick us off here, I saw the race 145. Jackson and Noah in complete lockstep going 6-1-3. Noah, I suppose you are our guest, so you can lead us away here with the number 6 halfway joking.
Well, it should be noted that Jackson's a very astute guy. That's why we have him on our PHP shows, especially when Miramati runs, because nobody has any idea what to do with him. But yeah, with the 6 halfway joking, this is a horse I actually bet last time. Had a big double into him. When the race first started, he didn't break great, so I thought he had immediately lost. And then he kind of rushed up and looked like he could win the race going away, and just completely flattened out. So that was his first off the bench. Adds blinkers this time, and hopefully if he breaks a little better, should be in a pretty decent spot. Jackson, I don't know what you thought. I think the 3 and the 6 are the main speed, but I think he could get loose just because the 3's been off for so long.
Jackson, you are muted.
There's a reason for it. We're good. We're powering through today. No, I agree with you, Noah, that the 6, it's not listed in the comment line, but he broke terrible. He was a whole step or two behind the rest of the field, and it wasn't like he really rushed up. He just kind of gradually got towards the front of the field, and I don't know. I just thought he put in a lot better effort than it looks just on paper, especially compared to the 7 and the 8 drawn as outside, who come out of the same race and really didn't have any kind of excuses in there. So at a much better price, I'd strongly prefer halfway joking. And as you mentioned, he's drawn outside of his main pace rival. Blinkers go on. Let's give him another chance to get back to a good form.
Yeah, I like it. I have no oppositions to what you guys said. Obviously, I didn't take this one of my top 3. I opted for a little bit of a 5-2 down on the inside, which you guys both used second. So clearly he's well respected in here. But obviously trained by Wesley Ward, 3rd start now, 2nd off the kind of brief freshening after the last start at Fairgrounds. I mean, I expect this one to go straight to the front, especially from the inside post. I love the Walter Rodriguez with Wesley Ward angle. That one, he seems to really only get the livest of mounts, I guess you could say. But so Thunder Appeal just going straight to the front. Petkoff, who he lost to last time out, came back to win his next race. So I'm anticipating a strong run and a strong finish from this one here. Jackson, Noah, any thoughts as you guys pick this one in second?
Absolutely. He ran a really good second last time. He lost to Petkoff, who was a horse out in California for a while and was like a forever maiden, and then switched to the Brittany Russell barn, I believe, and then has put together like 2 back-to-back 90 buyers. So big effort from him, and just to run second in a slow pace, I thought was good enough to maybe get it done in here.
Jackson?
He's not a favorite I'm really in love with because he's not exactly a standout. And he's taken a good amount of money both races. He's been fine. He's just nothing special, but this field isn't great either. So I want to give him another chance. He's going to be on my tickets. I'm not going to let this horse beat me for really strong connections.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll go now to the number 3, Theismann, either named after Joe Theismann or some sort of play on the Heisman trophy. But Jackson, Noah, you both picked this one in third. Jackson, why don't you continue and keep us going?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad this first race is. I'm glad this is the first race of the sequence because I'm curious to see how they bet this horse because that one number he earned back in last February is just so much better than everyone else in this field. Then he came back and ran terrible and hasn't been seen since. So that's obviously a concern. He hasn't really been working on the Tapeta or anything, so this is going to be his first time over the track. I'm assuming. So it's just tough to know how he's going to handle it. But again, I think the board is going to be pretty telling with this horse, as with the horse directly to his outside the 4 for Hardy and the Godolphin. So I'm curious to see how if those two get bet at all.
Yeah, same here. Noah, the 3. Any other notes that you wanted to add?
Talk about breeding with this horse, which is why he went for 1.5 at the Keeneland September 2021. Quality Road, English Channel mare. It'll be interesting to see if he is able to handle the synthetic. And he should be, on or near the lead. And I think we'll know his chances pretty early on in the race.
No doubt. That was one I considered for sure. I ended up with my second choice, the number 4, Obelisk. Quality Road on top, same as the number 3 there. And then Better Lucky on the bottom at a Ghost Zapper. This one probably is going to want longer. But the dam was grade 2 placed in a grade 1 on synthetic. Grade 1 placed on synthetic. Sorry, I don't know what I was trying to say there. And then also won her debut start. So, maybe a little bit of talent and precocity in the bloodline. So I'll take it. Not really siblings to any special runners by any means, but, gets first-time Lasix for the debut, has the 7-pound bug aboard. It looks like there could be a decent amount of pace, especially if the Wesley Ward horse from the inside. We have Halfway Joking with blinkers on that has some speed, as well as the number 3 Theismann. So there's a chance, this one maybe just kind of sets up for another Godolphin runner for Owen Hardy to, spring a bit of an upset. But I'm with Jackson. I'm really curious to see how this one gets bet in here. Definitely one where I want to play the tote board. And then last one I'll talk about here before we move on to the next leg of the sequence is the number 5 Holster. This is just the cutback angle for me. I know he's stepping up in class, but bred really well into protected class second off the claim. Ran a respectable enough effort going 2 turns on the synthetic, first time blinkers on. I'm expecting him to be sharp on the cutback. And again, if there's enough pace in here, he should have the stamina from that 2-turn race to be finishing when others might be struggling a bit. So I went with the 5 in third in here. Noah, Jackson, any other horses you'd like to talk about before we move on to race number 7?
No, let's move on.
All right. That is race number 6. Race number 7, picks are up. We're going 6.5 furlongs, $8,000 claiming race. Going from maiden special weight into claiming races is always a great time. So I saw the race 8-2-10. Jackson saw the race 3-2-10. And sorry, Kat. Noah saw the race 4-10-7. Jackson, why don't you take us away with the number 3 Urban Cowgirl?
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised this horse is 15-1 on the morning line because she has the highest last figure on the buyer scale and I believe on time form as well. And yet she's 15-1 in this field, and she's 2 for 5 at Turfway. She's got tactical speed, but she can also pass horses, and she's got a good inside draw. So I'm very interested in this horse. You guys don't have him anywhere, so maybe I'm crazy here, but I was just 15-1 is a crazy price in my opinion because she just seems like she's very logical in this spot.
Yeah, definitely a logical choice. Air Force Blues also love the synthetic there, so breeding kind of fits. Noah, you went with the 4 right to this one's outside for Tall Girl. What'd you like here?
I did. Tall Girl should be a pretty decent price come post time, I would think. Doug Danner is a very capable trainer. I know on the bottom left it says he's 0 for 2 first time claiming, but if you look a little deeper, I believe he's like 5 for 21 maybe, which is somewhere in the 20s, which is pretty good over the last 5 years. So switching barns, I know Randy Klopp is a guy that's also very capable, but was in the same race as the 8 EB Zoom Baby, if that's how you say that. But chase a slow pace. I love the cutback angle. Should be a little bit of a upgrade in terms of Barnes. So I'm going to use that one. And then I got the 10 also in second, which we all have. I'm probably just going to use those two. And if anybody else wins, then I'll be out.
Yeah, go ahead and sell us on your point on the 10, a horse that we all use somewhere.
Well, I think the 10 is, I don't know about far and away the best horse in the race, but definitely the horse to beat. I am a little worried about the 6.5, just because she's mostly been at 5 and 6. But I mean, if she runs anywhere close to that 75 that she ran 4 back, which is a 105 time form, I think she's going to be really tough. And another one that I think where she doesn't find herself on the lead, then there could be some chaos that ensues.
Absolutely. And I used the 10 in third, as did Jackson. However, I am going for the side of chaos. I'm using EB Zoom, baby, off the cutback. This is my top choice in this race, and a really strong opinion for the sequence. I think first off the claim, Lane Johnston steps this one up to claim $8,000, cuts him back, or cuts her back, I guess. But forwardly placed, going 2 turns, now cutting back. And yeah, that cutback angle, I mentioned it in the last race. Noah, you just mentioned it for the number 4 horse, the horse that you like. I like this one for all the same reasons. I think the cutback's going to be strong, and I think if chaos does ensue, this one is at least going to have some stamina to be able to close. And I don't hate the 8 post for this runner. Jackson, we'll go to you with the number 2, a horse that you and I both used in second.
Yeah, and I probably should have mentioned this with the 3 horse Urban Cowgirl. There's really not a lot of speed in this race, which I think is another a good thing for her, because she's going to be forward in the spot. But if they do heat up, I think this horse is the best closer, Quarter Flash, who ran fine last time. It was a much tougher race. This is a big drop in class, and she's getting light for this spot. So I like this horse a little bit. Third start off of a pretty long layoff, and the class relief I think could be significant. I just think she might be a little bit up against it from a pace perspective.
Yeah, I love the points that you made there. This one definitely, the drop in class, you're cutting the tag in half. Huge drop, and a horse that's shown some ability to pass horses, and I think has enough kind of tactical ability to be able to run a good race. So last one we'll talk about is the number 7, When's Forever. Noah, you picked this one in third?
Yeah, I don't know if she's necessarily good enough to win the race, but this is pretty much the dictionary definition of consistency. 9 out of 12 in the money, has the 1 start over the synthetic last time, which I know it was the pace was pretty honest that day, but she was kind of out of it and not ridden to what she prefers to be ridden to. I believe that's Rafael Hernandez Jackson, who is, I believe, a Woodbine guy. Is that correct? And he's obviously very capable. You see, he's 20%. So I think if he's got her a little bit more involved early with the slow pace, like you said, Jackson, I think she'll be of much better chances to run in the money than she did last time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Great pull with the Woodbine jockey as well. Rafael Hernandez in town to ride this one. So yeah, that's race number 7. That's race number 7. Race number 7. I saw the 8 race 8 to 10. Jackson saw the race 3 to 10. Noah 4, 10, 7. We'll move on now to race number 8. We're going 1 mile, allowance $83,000, non-winners of 3 lifetime. And I would imagine this is going to be the heaviest favorite of the day. Speaking about the number 8, Fantastical, with a morning line of 7 to 5. I picked the race 7, 8, 5. Jackson and Noah both went with the 8 on top, with Jackson going 8, 2, 1, Noah going 8, 5, 2. So we'll start with the morning line favorite. Noah, Fantastical, just too hard to beat in this spot?
Yeah, I don't know if she has been running fantastically, but she's pretty fantastic compared to some of these in this group. I think she's definitely logical. The race she ran last time, if she runs back to that, I think she's going to be ultra tough to beat. She did beat the 2, who I believe is the second choice, and kind of just blew her out of the doors. So I think if she is going to lose, it's going to be a fresh face. But like I said, I think just with those numbers that she's run, she's going to be really tough.
Yeah, Jackson, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, she's a single for me in this sequence. She just looks super tough, and like Noah mentioned, I think her main competition is the 2 horse, and she just beat that horse by over 4.5 lengths. So, she's got the tactical speed in a race that really doesn't feature much of it. So she can either go to the front if she breaks well, or sit right off of it. And her plate form is just really good. She lost by a head to School Dance, who was a great stakes horse out here in California. And then, she won here in February last year, and then she ran third to Nicest Pie and Poolside with Slim. Mm-hmm. And those are both stakes horses as well. So it just going through the rest of this field, it's tough to really, find a lot to grasp onto. And she just looks like she's the best horse in this race. And I'm not going to overthink it.
Yeah, I'm not going to fault you for that thought process whatsoever. I did end up going with the number 7 Awasef as my top pick. I know the route effort, way back with the 32 buyer was bad, but I mean, that was off a bit of a layoff. That was a ship off a trainer switch. So there was enough going on there that I'm willing to forgive it. The races on synthetic have been okay. I think out of Cairo Prince, this one is going to probably relish the 2 turns more than the sprint. So I'll give this one a shot. I'm still going to use the number 8 Fantastical on my ticket because obviously that's the horse to beat. But I mean, the 4-back effort for Awasef here is definitely competitive with these. And I think just a step up in distance might be to this one's advantage. I'm not entirely sure. Again, it's tough to get around the 8. I just wanted to try and find an alternative, and it was kind of the fresh face with a trying something new for the first time. So I went with the 7 on top. Jackson and Noah, you both used the 2 underneath. That is Quarrel. Jackson, what did you like about this one?
Again, I did it again.
And he's muted.
The biggest issue with this horse is that she just was beaten by Fantastical, right? And it wasn't really close. She lost by 4 lengths, but she was way out of position compared to what she is usually. Usually she's right up there on the lead, and that's where you see those strong figures. They come from when she gets forward. So the hope here is that I don't know. Did you guys watch that last replay? Maybe she just didn't break that well, but you would think from this inside draw they're going to probably send her away and try to make the front end here, because again, those races 2 and 3 back, those numbers they're going to be pretty close to what Fantastical is probably going to run here. So that's the hope if you're a believer in this horse, but she does need to make up a few lengths on the favorite.
Yeah, the break wasn't great. Just I don't know, I mean, it kind of says in the note, but wide trip the entire time. Just it kind of concerned me that this one maybe just didn't take to the synthetic the way that she liked the dirt or the turf, excuse me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't give her too much of an excuse for that. She didn't take much money that day, and I mean, she finished 5th, and she finished with a little bit of interest. I think she was just too wide, and I mean. I know, Jackson, you and I had bet that race in a pick 5 or something. Pick 4, I think that went the chalkiest pick 4 of the Turfway meet so far. And I remember this finish, and yeah, I understand why you took this one. A better trip from the 2 posts instead of the 11 is certainly a green flag. Noah, anything else? Oh, yeah. What?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too, is, last time she was 16-1, and she didn't even run that great. And now she's going to be 7-2 against the same horses. So it's not a strong. I wouldn't bet her at that price.
Yeah, agreed. Noah, what were your thoughts on this one?
I don't really have anything else too much to add. I know she was wide last time, but like Jackson said, she was 16-1 last time, and she was 16-1 for a reason. And she just kind of ran like it. So at 7-2, in terms of any kind of win wager, I would never touch her.
Very fair, very fair. Noah, you and I both went with the number 5 in our top 3. I like this one just coming off a win where it looked like, maybe the light bulb went on. I know this one dropped down pretty substantially from 2 back to that last win at Indiana. And those horses have been running pretty well. What do you like about the 5?
Yeah, well, the thing about this race is, you got the 2 as the second choice, who we kind of saw what she did last time. You got the 6 as the third choice, who's a Ravelli, who's been off for 18 months or however long. So just looking in a different direction, I thought the 5 was a little interesting. If you look at her races a little more carefully, specifically her last 4, she was favored in a race that was yielding at Colonial, and she came back and ran a nice second into a slow pace. 2 back, she was in a decent race and lost to Mrs. Astor, who won a turf stake, I believe, at Del Mar a couple weeks ago. And then the last race was really impressive. And these are the kind of horses that I typically don't like to bet, just because that last race is such a big number, such a big outlier. But I mean, if she runs anywhere back to that, I don't really think she has to beat much for second. So that's why I got her in the mix.
I agree. The synthetic efforts they don't surprise, they don't, wow me or anything like that. But this one's certainly bred to handle it. And Michael Tomlinson is definitely capable of training, a great horse pretty often. So I like this one. Maybe the light bulb went on. Maybe this one has a shot, but I mean, I am primarily 7-8 in here. Jackson, last one we'll talk about in this race is the one, not Storm Boy, but Storm Bay.
Yeah, just needed someone in third. I thought she ran fine last time. It wasn't great. It arguably was a tougher level than what she's facing in here, and maybe the little cutback will be good for her because she has some back races that are actually decent against better horses. Like the race at Fairgrounds wasn't bad back when she was with DeVoe, but again, I'm all 8 in this spot. This is more for underneath trifecta exactly kind of play.
Yeah, the underneath play is really interesting with Storm Bay. I'll give you that one just because that cutback from the 1.25 miles we've seen many times. That added stamina for races like this certainly help and certainly go a long way. So that's interesting. And then also you have the third off the layoff angle to look at. So certainly an interesting underneath horse. That's race number 8. I am 785. Jackson is 821. Noah is 852. We'll go now to race number 9. I guess technically the feature race of the day. Optional claimer 40,000. Non-2 winners. Not two other than, sorry. Picks her up. I went 387. Jackson went 873, and Noah went 518. So Noah's the outlier here, but that could be a good thing. You're using the number 5 rip around on top. What did you like here, Noah?
Yeah, I'm just realizing my theme here with my top picks is they're all pretty quick. Got some speed, so if speed's holding, I should have a pretty good day tomorrow. My theme last time was picking chalk, so it's a good thing I didn't do that this time. But going back to the 5 with Rip Around, she was a really nice third, I thought, last time in a race where there are, I believe, 3 or 4 horses coming out of that. Just finished behind the 8, who just kind of got her on the nose at, I believe, like 40 or 42 to 1. But I thought Rip Around just kind of did the dirty work. I don't think she's going to be pressed as much as she was. But I think the race, even though I don't love the 4, I think she's kind of the X factor, because if the 4 makes the 5 work, then could ultimately detriment her later on in the race. But I could definitely see her taking her the whole way, and hopefully she'll be somewhere around that 4 to 1.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jackson, we're gonna go to you next to the number 8, Comset.
Yeah, this one comes out of the same race as Rip Around and Hart, who is your Moorline favorite. And I really thought Hart had the best trip in that spot, and she still didn't beat either of those horses. I don't know why she's favored in this race. I don't think she ran very well at all. And now she has to break from the rail. But I thought Comset ran fine. Noah mentioned she was 42 to 1 that day, so nothing was expected of her. And she ran really well. She just got outkicked late, but I thought she had an okay trip, not too far behind the speed, kind of in between rivals throughout, and then just did have clear sailing in the lane. But I don't know about you guys. I thought this was a really wide open race. I thought you can make a case for pretty much all of them in this race. So I would just a little hesitant to take too short of a price on anyone. And this horse is 5 to 1, got a good outside draw. And if she repeats that last effort, she'll be right there.
Yeah, I completely agree. That was why I used this horse in second. I'm very deep in this race in the pick 5 for sure, just because it was so competitive. This one, something that stood out to me was that this horse has run some of her better efforts on turf, and then got onto the synthetic last time and really just, went right back to those mid 70 figures. And I think that gets this one pretty close here. You mentioned, 42 to 1 last out, losing to Leanne Go. And now we get another shot to have this one back. I'll go to number 3 next. That's Sickle Dance. And Jackson, we'll stick with you. You picked this one in third, and I picked this one on top.
Yeah, Noah mentioned too that Cat Attack is definitely the key to this race, because if that horse sends to the front, then this thing could heat up, because the 5's going to go to the Rip Around. Those 2 are both very quick. They both got on the lead in like 10 of their last 11 races. Those 2 are just, I have to think they're going to go pretty quick. Maybe it sets it up for a horse like Sickle Dance, who ran fine last time. That race really fell apart with the one that Opera Mundi won. But a couple horses have come out to run pretty well out of it, so it doesn't concern me too much. She has a really strong kick, and if she gets the right kind of setup, she'll be right there as well.
Completely agree. That was a lot of what brought me to that. Awasef is the 7 horse I used in the last race. I clearly like that Opera Mundi race, as that one did fall apart. This one, was not too far off of it the entire race, and just kind of stayed on and got a decent 4th. Certainly well respected. It was 8 to 1 that day. Opera Mundi was bet to, I want to say 4 to 5 or something. Maybe above. It doesn't matter.
Which was 9 to 5. I had her
9 to 5. You did have her that day, as did the person who won the live chat giveaway, I believe, that day also cashed in their winnings on that. But anyway, I like this one's effort coming out of clearly a tough race where the winner was very well meant. Shows back up in a competitive spot, and this one should give a good account of herself. So that's what ended up with me picking this one on top. But again, no super strong opinions as I'm very deep in this race. Noah, we'll swing back to you. The number 1 Heart. Is this the Jackson double synthetic buyer angle or something?
No, I don't know. I normally this is the horse you're supposed to try to beat just because she was so bad last time. But I'm just going to give her an excuse. I know she didn't really have much of an excuse, but I think if she runs to her best, she's certainly good enough to beat this group. If she runs anywhere back to the race she did 2 back with the 100 time form, I think that's going to be a factor. And I think I want Machado to ride her a little differently than she was last time, and she was a little closer and more involved. But I think her best races are when she kind of comes from out of it and comes with 1 run. So if Machado does that, I think you might see a better side of her.
Yeah, this is the one to beat. And I mean, I use this horse in the pick 5 because I have a pretty aggressive single somewhere else, but certainly one that from the post you'd think almost forces the hand unless Luan really takes back and then makes a deep closing run. But then you got to hope that the 4 and 5 really go at it and cause this thing to melt down a little bit. So it's an interesting race with a lot of possible setups here. I guess last one we'll talk about is the number 7. I don't think we've talked about that one yet. That's Hattie T. Horse I picked in 3rd, and Jackson you picked in 2nd. Jackson, we were pretty much in lockstep on this race. What did you like about the 7 here?
Yeah, again, I thought this race was pretty wide open and just looking for a fresher face in this spot. She won her debut on the synthetic at Golden Gate, so she's proven over synthetic in general, not necessarily this track, but she has run well over synthetic. And then I don't know, she wasn't really finishing those races going further. She never really had a great punch, so maybe this is what she wants to do all along, just getting back to the one turn. Getting back to one turn, getting back to synthetic, and she's got a decent late kick, good late pace numbers. So maybe this is the one that picks up the pieces late. I'm just really banking on the fact that the 4 and 5 are going to go at each other early.
Yeah, it certainly has the makings of chaos. And Steven brings up a great point. Thanks for joining the live chat, Steven. Doesn't the 7 have the best class? I mean, certainly is up there, right? I mean, the company this one is kept with with Sea Dancer, Tambo, Maduro, who's a stakes winner. A lot of others. Obviously, coming off the layoff from Golden Gate might be a bit of an issue for Ed Moger, but I mean, yeah, certainly has some back class to get back to. So that is race number 9. I saw the race 3-8-7, and then similarly, Jackson saw the race 8-7-3, and then Noah 5-1-8 in a wide open 9th race affair. Now we'll move on to race number 10, the final leg of this pick 5 sequence with the $180,000 carryover. I see 2 AE choices for the both. For Jackson and myself. I saw the race 8-3-14. Jackson saw the race 14-5-9, and Noah saw the race 9-8-4. We're going a mile, 3-year-olds, maiden $30,000. And Jackson, you're going to lead us away here with the number 14, Shane Falco.
Yeah, I knew Ryan was going to be mad when I singled an AE, spoiler alert, in my pick 5. So I just like this horse a lot. I think a lot of these are coming out of the same race where they all were, there was a runaway winner, and there's like 5 of them separated by like a length or 2, and they're all coming back in this spot. So that's usually not a great sign of a good race. And I think this horse has been waiting to stretch out because the debut at Laurel was pretty good, just kind of had that even running line. But he did pass a few horses in that spot, got a decent figure, especially on time form. Time form had it a lot higher. And then last time that was the highest last figure on synthetic out of this entire field. And again, just kind of had that even running line where wasn't really making up a ton of ground. Ignore the runaway winner, obviously, but was just kind of running in place. And to me, that just kind of screams that this horse must go further. And that makes sense being by Temple City, who was, a marathoner in his prime. So gonna have to deal with that outside draw, but he gets Corrales, which is a very good sign. And he'll be much more forward going the 2 turns. So I like this horse quite a bit, really hoping he draws in this last race on Wednesday.
I'm with you. I hope this one draws in as well. I picked this horse in 3rd. Certainly a horse I'm going to use. Yeah, just has the class on the drop down. I love the kind of run in place angle. For the horses that are stretching out off the 2 sprints here. Gets first time Lasix, and I know the 14 you're a little bit marooned out there, but I mean, Jackson, we've watched Turfway this entire meet, and how many times is an AE in the field, and then all of a sudden we see the 13 or 14 just powering home late. Somehow managed to save enough ground and then has enough for the stretch run. So I don't feel too worried, I'll say, about this one, either losing too much ground or whatever it might be. They seem to win if they're the best horse. So I felt confident taking the 14 rather in third. Noah, we're going to swing out to you. Horse in the body of the field that we can talk about. You're going to talk about the number 9.
Yeah, I've got this one on top. I thought this race was pretty wide open. This is the race that I definitely spread more than the others, as you'll see a little bit later. And full disclaimer, I would have the 14 in second, but I've got this, rule that I can't put AEs in my top 3, and I live by that very strictly. So can't have the 14 in there, but I do have the 9 on top.
You're weird.
Joe Sharp. Joe Sharp had this horse protected for quite a while. So I think Joe Sharp thought he had a decent runner here, but then just found a reasonable spot when he got claimed 2 back. Cipriano Contreras moved him back up to maiden special weight. It was a restricted race, but I thought it was a pretty good one. That was a race that I believe, talked about. Banks is a really nice horse that came back and won. And then Brother Kenny was a horse that I loved that day and ran a nice second, but Banks was just so much the best. And those two just kind of took him around. He was kind of trailing the field, slow pace, and was wide the whole time. So I think if the Bug Boys got him a little bit closer, I know there's really not a ton of speed in the race. I think as long as he's got him close, just kind of take his chances. And I think the 6-1 is a fair price.
Yeah, definitely. Fair price for sure. Drops to the lowest level of this one's career. Finally in for a tag, but it seems like it's kind of a reasonable spot for this runner. 40 buyer last time is not terrible. You mentioned lost to Banks and Brother Kenny, excuse me. So here we go. Steven says, no, a great pick. Add the 10 and the 11. So, up your ticket price, which you can afford to do, Noah. But I can't believe that you don't choose AEs. You would have never had Rich Strike in the Derby if that was the case. So we'll go out now to number 8, horse that Noah, you have in second, and I have on top. I'll quickly just touch on him, and then I'll give him over to you. Matt Miller, thanks for joining in the chat. Last race of the sequence screams all, in addition to a press-up ticket. Pretty much. This last race is there's a single if he draws in, but if not, you got to go pretty deep. A horse that I'm going to be using is the number 8, Tis a Showdown. This one also drops to the lowest level of the career, gets first-time Lasix, where the trainer has a decent amount of success. The buyers are certainly competitive at this level. This runner has passed horses in his career, which is important when you're dropping down to a level like this. Has, I don't know about tactical speed, but is able to be, not terribly far out of it, which is something that I like because a lot of these horses aren't going to be able to finish, but, those deep closers might not get the setup that they need. So this one should be in good position. Cedillo rides great out in Kentucky ever since he moved his tack out there from the West Coast. So happy to see him succeeding out there and happy to take this one at 5-1 is a very fair price in here. This is probably the best betting race on the card. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that would probably be my opinion on this last race.
Absolutely.
We'll go to the number 5, Jackson. TCAT.
Jeez. Yeah. Sorry. This horse just didn't run great last time. He didn't do anything at all. But he took a lot of money. He comes out that same race everyone else did. So the current concern with him was that just a one-off, or was he just does not handle a synthetic? Because you're going to get a much better price today to find out. So if he's 15-1, I'll throw him in there. I don't really mind because his race is 3 and 4 back over the turf course. He ran a decent third at Keeneland against a way better field, and then the one at Kentucky Downs was decent too. So I'm gonna give him one more chance to get back to that good form. Maybe he just doesn't like the Tapeta, but he's a giant price, so let's throw him in there somewhere.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I'm not going to talk you off of a 15-1 morning line shot in a race this deep and competitive. Train and Trust is one that you maybe trust, Noah. How do you feel?
If you could trust a $30,000 claimer, I still wouldn't trust him. But he makes the cut for third because the strict morals that I live by. He's coming out of the same race that some of the other horses are coming out of, but he just really didn't amount to much. It's the same thing as the 5, but just a little bit of a shorter price. Where I'm just a little worried that maybe the synthetic got him last time. Maybe that's just not his preferred surface. Because if you look two back that race with a 50 buyer, believe it or not, it fits pretty good in here. So, and a big upgrade to Moncada, who is also another bug boy, but you can see he's 29%. So the horses that have been getting on are live. So like I said, just barely made the cut, but he's on the ticket as well as several others.
Definitely. Train and Trust is certainly an interesting use there, because if he can, improve on that form. Matt Miller says, people construct tickets front to back. If a price horse wins this last race, I expect it will be a really good value in the pick 5. Be honest, how many just include however many you can afford in the last? There's certainly a good amount of people that, have a budget in mind. They'll go 1 through 4, and then that 5th leg, they use as many as humanly possible to fit that budget. So I agree with that viewpoint, and I think you will get some nice prices in the last leg of the pick 5. Jackson, anytime we make a group ticket, we typically go back to front. Or if we split it up, one of us starts at the last race and the other kind of beginning, and we meet in the middle, which has been decent. You found a nice single for us that got home in the chalkiest pick 4 ever played at Turfway Park. So that serves us right. I went with the number 3 in second. That is a Broken Record. Funny named colt here. But yeah, drop this one, another drop down angle. Gets first time Lasix for the Mike Maker barn. 4-1 isn't exactly the price I love, but Luan Machado and Mike Maker hit it 56% from the 9 mounts here. 441 ROI. They're a powerful duo when they team up anywhere. So this is one where I'm going to use this horse because I think a logical step up with the addition of Lasix just seemed to get a little tired late, obviously behind a 7 and change length winner last time out. Lost to Tiz Showdown in each of his last 2 races. But yeah, I'm going to take Broken Record here. I like the pace. I like the post position, Should be able to sit a decent trip, save some ground, and I'm hoping this one is just going to have enough left in the tank when they turn for home. Matt Miller, one more. This is guaranteed the race where people start adding and removing horses based on budgets. You can just feel it. I'd try hard not to do that. Matt Miller, of course, just has the random number generator for the Turfway sequences. So I'd be curious to watch his process there. And it'd be probably about as accurate as anybody else's, because Turfway is Turfway, and that's why it is so great. I think we've talked about all the. What's that?
You only need 1 in here. 14.
Yeah. Okay. Again, you only need 1. So those are all the races in the sequence. We'll get into our pick 5 tickets now. We gave ourselves a $100 budget. I got, towards the top end of that, and then Noah towards the bottom end of that. But pressing up the opinions, I like the confidence. You're going to lead us off and take us through this ticket.
Yeah, this is a pretty cheap ticket. Like I said, this is more of a double and win bet sequence from what I saw. But again, just because of the big carryover, we got to play a ticket, got to dabble in just a little bit. In the first leg, I'm singling the 6 that both Jackson and I like. Hopefully could just get to the lead and never look back. And then race 7, I've got the 10 who could also do the same thing, but then I've got the 4 who's the first time in the barn for Doug Danner, who should be a decent price. Race 8, just the kind of moto obvious single with the 8 in there, who should be a pretty logical single, I would think, on most tickets in the big pool. And then race 9, got the 5 who also could go wire to wire, and then the 1 hopefully to be ridden a little bit better than last time. And then in the last race, this is the race that I think could be a cluster. I've got the 14 if he draws in. The horses I do have are 1, 3, 4, 8, 9, 14. So got a bunch in there. And if I somehow do make it there on a small ticket, then hopefully that'll be enough to cover me. Actually, the horse that we probably should have touched on in the last race is the 6, who's a morning line favorite, the Brad Cox runner, who I guess neither of us like, which I think we've got similar thinking in there. But this is one that Brad Cox debuted in November at Churchill, was I think 5 or 6 to 1, just ran awful, and throwing in for 30,000 now. So just one of the horses that I think if you are to play against someone in that big field, could be the one.
Yeah, absolutely. I told Jackson this, I think, on opening day of Turfway. Anytime I see Beskiza instead of like Luan Machado on the Brad Cox runner, it's kind of a fade for me. Just because if he's not getting that top mount that he wants, it's probably not a super live horse. And also, anytime Brad Cox just straight up gives up on one of his horses, the talent might not necessarily be there. Maybe he fits at that level, but yeah, we were all playing against him. Thank you for bringing that one up. I did skip over that, but that is Noah's ticket, $12. Pretty skinny through the first 4, and then just hoping in the last, going 6 deep. So best of luck to you. Shadow boxer to my right, Jackson. What do you got for us?
Yeah, $60 ticket, and I don't know how involved I'm going to get because you guys know I can't stand the 4 out of 5 payouts because it dilutes everything, and so I'll probably end up playing the pick 4 though because I just don't love that first leg. But for this show in that first leg, I'm 1, 3, 5, 6 there. Really need to watch the board in that race because again, the Urton horse, I just don't know how he's going to get bet. If he opens up at like 2-1, I think you're going to know pretty quickly that the horse is live. But if he's just kind of hanging around that 10-1 spot, then maybe just throw him out completely. So gonna see what happens as far as that first leg. The second leg is it's that $8,000 claiming race. I'm just super spready. I thought it was a tough race. Gonna just try to get any kind of prize home in that spot. And then I think Fantastical is just, she should win. I mean, if she runs back to that last race, she'll win for fun, in my opinion. Race 9, that is the race. I was against Hart on the rails, more line favorite, and I was also against the River Valley horse. I don't think we talked about that one too much, but that horse I believe is 3-1. That's Enchanted Nile, who has never been on the synthetic before, so looks like she's one that's going to take some money in that spot, and then just gonna try to get. First of all, gonna hope that AE draws in, and then if he does, hopefully we're alive to Shane Falco. Because the other thing I don't think I talked about is, I think sometimes when you have these AEs in this big sequence, especially in the very last race, they kind of just get forgotten about. And then all of a sudden they're paying way more than they typically would if they were drawn on post 10 or whatever, just because he isn't also eligible. So I think sometimes you get a little bit better value in that race. So hopefully that horse draws in.
Yeah, definitely. You might get some good odds on that, especially in the pick 5 sequences. That's, people kind of get to the 12 and they'll be like, okay, cool, I chose all the horses, and they'll move on. So certainly a good angle there, just kind of sneaky. That's a $60 pick 5 ticket brought to you by Jackson. My ticket is $72. I'm going 145 in the first. That could be subject to change. I'll play the board. I'll see how much money that the first or the number 4 for Owen Hardy and Godolphin is taking. If that Urton runner is taking some live money, maybe I pivot over there. Next race, I am singling, and I'm going to single EB Zoom Baby, the 10-1 horse in the claiming race. First off, the claim for Lane Johnston, a bit of a shot, but as Jackson was saying, it is a really difficult race, that second leg. So, I have an opinion where it's relatively strong, maybe 8 out of 10. So I'll take that one. I'll single it. Hope to, that'll allow me to kind of spread elsewhere. Noah's giving me a thumbs down, but he's just picking chalk all the way. So I don't know what that's about.
The FaceTime thing where it comes up. I wish you would do that, but it wouldn't.
Okay, noted. I will get in touch with the StreamYard reps on that one. All right, and then next race, I'm using Fantastical. I also wanted to use the 7 AWSF. No issue using the chalk with another horse there, just because I'd be beating, most of the other prices in there if I were to get that 8 home in EB Zoom Baby. And then I'm just going to use them all in that 9th race, just because that's, I think, the deepest, most complicated race of the sequence, at least in my eyes. And then last race, I'll go 3, 8, 14. If the 14 doesn't draw in, I don't know. I'll look for an alternate option, but I feel relatively confident in this one, just because if I can get that single home, I kind of use all the horses that I want to use everywhere else in the sequence. So that makes me feel pretty good. Going 3, 8, 14 in the last for a $72 ticket. But yeah, all right. One more thing from Matt Miller. Way better value on those. Talking about the AEs, and if they scratch, it's a slick Willy way of getting live to the post-time favorite. That is one of the best phrases I've heard in quite some time. So that is the late pick 5 sequence out at Turfway Park. Difficult sequence for sure. The 3 of us have 3 very different tickets with some different ticket structures, but hopefully one of us gets alive into the last race. Hopefully that 14 draws in and doesn't take any live money. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I know we started relatively early compared to our other ones there, but
so does Turfway tomorrow.
So does Turfway tomorrow. Turfway starts 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and they got post times every about 28 minutes. So going to be fast and furious at Turfway Park as we get back and they try and accelerate those post times to avoid the cold weather. So get those plays in. Noah, I will see you in just a few hours over on the HHH Racing Pot Network YouTube channel for Pacific Horse Players. We're going over the late pick 3 for Santa Anita for Cal Cup Day as they,
Is Miramati running?
Miramati is not running, so Jackson will not be in attendance. Jackson's going to be drinking some tea, resting his voice up because we got another show tomorrow. We got Big Hoof Energy, of course, with Kaylee Shapiro as well. We're going to be going over the Aqueduct Saturday card. But yeah, Jackson, Noah, you and I have late pick 3 at Santa Anita, and then races 6 and 8 from Fairgrounds this weekend, as they have one of their big stakes days. I believe 12 or 14 races on the card. So it's going to start early and end late. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Jackson, Noah,